Welcome to RPG Book Club LongCast, the podcast where we play a little bit of a lot of video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I am Sam Allman.
I'm Maddie Grace Webben.
I'm Bernard Haupt.
And today we'll be talking about part 2 of .hack GU Part 1 Rebirth. There's a lot of word on this. When I was putting it up online, I had to debate 15 different ways how I was going to call this episode 1 of LongCast 1, game number 1 of .hack 2. And
because you could just, I mean, it's all just .hack. This is just, we don't even need to say what fucking game we're in. We're just playing .hack GU.
Yeah, we're just playing some .hack GU.
We're somewhere in there. Yeah. Apparently we're halfway through the game now, which is crazy because nothing has happened. Anyway.
Yeah, because it's so weird because in a normal game, like in a normal RPG, we would skip over all of the boring leveling up quests, but that's what this game is about. So it's like nothing happened, but a lot of things happened. It's just this game is like dialing in on the shit that doesn't matter, like on purpose.
Yeah,
which is
anytime I go to it,
but it's so weird to.
Oh, sorry. I didn't realize you weren't done. My bad. You cut out. You're good.
Oh, no. I was just going to say it's just so weird and different from every other game.
Yeah. No, anytime I would go to a fucking random ass field thinking I'm just going to go here and kill some bad guys and level up. And when it loads the area, instead of it just being the normal area load, it goes into a cutscene. I'm like, God damn it. Why is there a cutscene here? There's no reason for there to be a cutscene here. I'm just leveling up. Anyway.
Yeah. It's great. But yeah, before we get started talking about it, I wanted to touch base on some lore shit that had happened in all of the shit that we read. But I did not take notes on it. So I'm going to do that later.
Cool.
Because I wrote out my intro and hey, this is where you talk about it, and I was going to go and take notes on the lore of the game because it's complicated and back and forth and pretty cool, and knowing how RPGs are, this completely unrelated won't be important thing will kind of be what happens in the game, and probably would be really cool, but I didn't do it yet. So
well, the good news is I didn't keep up on any of that stuff, and I'm getting along just fine. So
yes, it's there, and this is LongCast, so I feel we should dive into the extra shit that we sometimes, all the time, gloss over on our normal episodes. So it's coming, but it's not today because right before we were going to record, my daughter somehow ran into a flat surface that is the door to my room, and somehow sliced her leg open with it. Don't know how.
On a door?
On the flat part of the door. Leg is completely busted open.
Well,
so I had
if there's anything I've learned about children, which is not as much as you have, but even me knows this, is that they can get hurt in any way for any reason.
Oh yeah, at any time.
But they'll probably be fine.
Yes.
When I was a kid, I broke my arm on a trampoline, and most people were like, "Oh, did you jump too high and then land on the metal part on the edge of the trampoline that's a metal bar?" It's no, it was the middle part. I just landed the soft bouncy part. I just, my arm didn't. It just went weird, and I broke it.
When I was a little kid, I spun around in a circle really, really fast until I got really dizzy. Then I split my head open on the corner of the wall.
See, there you go.
Kids suck. Love them.
Sam, what's your injury story as a child?
So my injury story is really boring, but my mom is nuts, so it makes it better. So I was a young nerd, and my video games were my life, and I was half asleep on the top bunk, and I rolled off the bed and woke up from the shit I'm falling off the bed, saw my PlayStation on the ground, because when you're a kid, you don't have an entertainment center in your room. You have a TV and a PlayStation both just laying out on the floor.
Yeah, when you're a kid, that's what you do. Glances over at game consoles.
And so I saw that it was like coming up at me, and so I landed really hard. Started crying. Everything was horrifying. And my mom comes in and she's like, "What's the matter?" And I'm like, "I think I might have broke my PlayStation." So my mom tells the story that I was so out of it from drinking so much Red 40 food coloring drinks that I fell down and was holding my arm and saying, oh no, I broke my PlayStation. I'm like, "No, Mom, my actual PlayStation. I'm in the middle of Final Fantasy VIII. I didn't want this to be broken."
I don't think that my arm is called a PlayStation.
So the whole red food coloring stuff, that wasn't just a my mom thing?
No, it was some email thread probably that everybody picked up on.
When someone becomes a mom, do they lose the ability to fact check things?
Yes.
I guess. No, I have no. My mom did not buy into that particular thing, but there were certainly plenty of weird things. Although maybe it's just an age. I don't know. Maybe it's just an age thing, because my housemate is an older person, and they're the same way. They're like, I read this thing online, and like normally I don't believe this kind of stuff, but like I don't know. This time I'm like, oh my god, you're gonna about to say something just fucking stupid.
Yeah, my mom also thought that Satoshi Tajiri was a proven Satanist and that you could use Pokemon to summon the devil, so I wasn't allowed to play it.
So Pokemon was the one thing that my parents, for some reason, didn't fall on the side of. It's demonic, actually. But other things, like Pokemon. Sorry, I just said Pokemon. They didn't. Harry Potter, Final Fantasy. Other things. Chrono Trigger, apparently not. I don't remember playing Chrono Trigger as a kid, but apparently my older brothers played Chrono Trigger when I was a kid. Anyway, yeah, but luckily I lucked out on Pokemon.
Lucky.
My parents generally didn't, think things were demonic that clearly weren't, but like my friends' parents did, and my friends did, and I was like, oh my god, I've got to not do this stuff because it's demonic and I'm scared. And
that's
even
like
though
the most
my parents
thing
themselves,
I've ever heard.
I was a very Protestant, very gay child, and I was just scared of everything.
Being scared of media consumption because your friends thought it was evil. Yeah. Magic the Gathering was a big no-no for my fam, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And when I got into Dungeons and Dragons in college, my mom was like, so is it demonic? And I was like, no. And she was like, okay, just had to check. Because, that's
my
what I said.
Was like, kind of gave me the same talk. And it was kind of just like, okay, you're clearly an adult and can make your own fucking decisions. And like, also is like, clearly like, are not a Satan worshiper. But, like, my mom clearly understands that, but also her response was kind of just like, you're sure, though? Like, okay, I guess. I guess if you want to play Dungeon, I guess that's fine. Let's talk about something else. Like, even when I was fucking, 22 years old.
You're like, okay, Mom, if you don't want to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, I'm trans. And she's like, so you're rolling an elf?
Tell me more. God.
But yeah, let's listen to some more music from. I know that Bernard said who made it last week, but I don't remember who that was.
Neither do I.
Yeah. So we'll listen to some music by the good old folks over at CyberConnect, and then we'll talk about this game.
Now you said that it was the folks at CyberConnect, so you're going to have to play music that occurs in the world, because it can't be music that occurs like on the desktop or something, because that would be music by the people at CyberConnect too.
That's true.
You're right.
Also, I will say right out the gate, I have come around to Sam's opinion from 2 weeks ago that the music is really good. 2 weeks ago, I was like, not really feeling the music. And now I'm like, okay, yeah, every time I go to an area and it's a track I've already heard before, I'm like, oh, I love this one.
Yeah. I thought that was my opinion.
I think it was. I think I've also come around on it since then.
Well, regardless, I agree with it now.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, the music is definitely growing on me. But where we last left our heroes, we learned that Haseo is able to summon what's called an avatar because he's an epitaph user. Avatar and epitaph are not synonyms. And avatars have the ability to data drain, where you can, forcefully alter data, and that's what happened to Haseo at the beginning when he was knocked down to level 1. And let's see, what else did he say? I think...
and then we learned that that there's a big glitch in the whole world called Ida, and it's going to destroy everything at some point. And then we joined the group called GU in order to stop it. And also they said that they're going to help us find our avatar. And then we left and we learned about all that important plot stuff. And then we had a long, dumb side quest where we became a shop owner and then later became a guild master of our dumb friends that we don't even like, but we're now in a guild with them.
Yeah, we didn't talk about how we became a guild master. I don't remember it very clearly because it was several weeks ago, but I remember it was really dumb and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, that actually is the first thing that happens on this week's quote-unquote playthrough, because all of us played it last week. But the first thing that happens is we have this long, involved, dumb, amazing quest where you have to find 3 different samurai grunties that stare off into the distance, all broody and give you some weird poetry and then some key item. And when you get all 3 key items, you're officially guildmaster.
Grunties are these little tiny pig people, and I like them.
Yes.
Yeah, they were annoying, but somehow I'm like, fine, they're good.
So you know what grunties were in IMOC? They were chocobos from Final Fantasy VII. You had extensive breeding mini games for grunties, and they were still pigs.
Yeah, that was in the anime too.
In the lore, when you read it, in the time period that the World Revision 2 is taking place in, whatever happened in the storyline of the first game, the gods gave grunties full intelligence and made them into a full species, a full sentient race, instead of just being fucking cow pigs. And it's amazing.
That explains it. Oh, there is a more important thing from last time. When we were doing the big dumb, you're a shopkeeper owner now, and now you're also a guild master, and now you have to do all these dumb quests. We also met a very important character who's going to become more important this week. This character named Bo. Bo is the real person's name. I don't know who.
Yes, the character's name is Sakubo, because big sister's name is Sakura and little sister's name is Bo.
See, even though that's super obvious, I did not put it together. So there's this character named Sakubo who is a really, really cool character design. I really like them. They're cool looking, and it's a brother. It's a young they sound like they're fucking 9 years old. Or at least, probably more like 12 or 13. Anyway, they're definitely kids, right? It's a younger brother and an older sister who share a character. And luckily, I actually think this maybe is a missed opportunity, but the character model actually changes depending on who's controlling it.
It does?
Yeah.
I think it's just... I don't think the model changes. I think their mannerisms just become... it's a very andro character design, but their mannerisms are more feminine when
Maybe
Sakura
I
is
just
playing.
forgot what they looked like in between cutscenes.
I think that's it.
Okay, I could have sworn that when it was Saku, it was more like dark colored, it's more like black, and then when it was Bo,
No,
it was
Just
not.
when Saku shows up, it's nighttime, you dingus.
That's
okay,
all it
whatever.
is.
Okay, this game's lighting effects are kind of weird sometimes because every single time there's a shot of Haseo from the back, his hair is like silver with bright purple highlights because of something about this game's graphics engine. I don't
Lighting
know why.
is weird.
Anyway, whatever. So never mind, they don't, which is cool. Yeah, so sometimes it's Bo, who is a tiny, sweet, sweet baby child, and later we'll meet Saku later this week.
Mm-hmm. So, after we become Guildmaster, we have our first required forum post, which is really cool because almost all of the forum stuff is just fluff, but like you don't exist in an online situation without some sort of like outside of game communication, and you have to do it here. And it's just a simple one where you just talk to Syllabus on the forums, but I did want to highlight it because I thought it was really cool that you like the thing you're supposed to do is go and talk to your friends on the forums. But Syllabus invites you out to a new town called Lumina Cloth, which is a what the fuck was that?
A classic one thing town.
Yep, it's a town with a battle arena because we're literally on episode 2 of this fucking thing, and we're already doing the fighting tournament,
martial arts tournament.
So what
it's turning out to be is
I would say it's interrupting the plot, but the plot hasn't. There's not a plot, so it's just like, okay, I guess this game is martial arts tournament now.
Yeah, I think this whole game's plot is the martial arts tournament.
Oh Lord,
like that's going to be the background to all the other stuff that happens.
Great,
which is great. But so when you enter, you wow, this guide sucks. Their thing says, as you enter, there will be quite a few scenes, so go ahead and watch them. I'm going to pick a different guide.
Hold on, Sam. I actually found maybe a better guide thingy. I can send it to you, but also I could just take over if you want.
Sure.
I'm thinking to myself, I remember all this stuff really well, actually. I have a weirdly good memory for games. I think we've talked about this. I have a weird superpower. I remember things that happened 10 years ago if they were video games. If there's anything else, I don't remember shit. So anyway, we watch a bunch of cutscenes where they're just at the Coliseum, and they're just like, cool, and then we meet that really pretty boy who showed up last week. Turns out he's there again. Turns out he's the emperor. They don't explain what that means, but his name is Indrans, and he's some kind of emperor. And
I think that just is the title for the person who's highest rank at the arena.
Yeah, I think so.
I figured, although some of the NPC dialogue made me think otherwise. But yeah, whatever. He's called the emperor, and he's good at fights. And in a cutscene, he demolishes the bejesus out of some random hapless fellows. But here's the thing. He demolishes the bejesus out of those hapless fellows with an avatar. And if you recall from last time, avatars are invisible unless you too are an epitaph user.
You were going to say avatar user, weren't you? Because that makes sense, wouldn't it?
No, I knew it wasn't that. I just had to remember what it actually was for a second. Oh, I figured it out. Epitaph, it's not a noun. It's not a noun stack. You're not a user of epitaphs. Epitaph is an adjective. So you're just... Epitaph is what you're a user you are. You're just a user. And what kind of user are you? Epitaph style. Like, sure. Anyway, it's not better. It's slightly better that way. What kind of user are you? Epitaph, not what do you use. Anyway.
Epitaph is a noun. It means like what's written on your tombstone or whatever.
But I'm saying that you can use nouns as adjectives in English because English is dumb, though, right? So like,
that's a great thing about English.
No, I agree. Actually, it's great. Why bother changing the form of a word when you can just be like, yeah, that word, it's something different now. It just is. Deal with it. Sorry if you're not a native English speaker. Anyway, so Haseo gets really fucking mad. I don't really know why. He's just like, yo, fuck that guy. I hate him. I'm gonna kick his ass. I'm just mad.
Oh, it's because he thinks he's cheating.
Oh yeah,
because
that's true. That is true. Yeah,
Haseo
he's just like
has spent 8 months becoming the very best that no one ever was by his own bootstraps, and he thinks that this guy is using a glorified bug to cheat his way through the arena.
Yeah, that's definitely the basic angle. So he's just like, fuck that guy. I don't like him. So he storms out, and then he meets Saku, who I mentioned earlier. This is their first time meeting Saku, and she is just a total groupie for Indrant. She calls him Master N. She's like, oh, N. She's a cutie pie. She's like an asshole, but in a cute way. She's fun.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's a precocious 13-year-old, right? She's a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And then they say some dumb anime stuff. It doesn't matter. And then Indrant himself shows up, and they have a big argument, and he's very, very pompous. And Haseo's like, I saw you using an avatar. And he's like, oh, you just saw my avatar, but you can't actually use your own. So you don't have any power anyway. So like, who even cares? And then Haseo's just like, I'm so mad at you right now. I'm gonna devote the rest of this entire video game to defeating you in the arena. And that's it. Did Indrant leaves, and Haseo decides that to heck with Tri-Ace, to heck with whatever. He now just really wants to beat Indrant.
To heck with Tri-Ace, the makers of Star Ocean.
To heck with Triad. Shut up. So then he's like, well, shit. In order to go, then they have a zillion cutscenes explaining like how the goddamn tournament works. It's pretty simple. It's just a tournament. But first you got to do a lot of battles in order to get ranked number 16. And then once you're 16, then you enter the actual like bracket, right? Which is a different thing. But anyway, before you can do any of that, you got to have a party. You got to have a party to do the tournament. It's not for solos.
And it's a party of 3, and so you turn around to your 2 buddies who have been there the whole time, and you're like, hey, you said you'd always be for me, right? And Gaspard's like, nah, I want to be a shopkeeper instead of a fighter. So
Gaspard gets stage fright. He can't do it in front of an audience.
Yeah, so Gaspard just pieces out, which honestly is fine, because I hate to admit this, but I really love these characters. I really come to like them a lot. I don't know why. They're the fucking worst. But Gaspard's a sweetie pie, and I don't want him to get hurt. So,
yes.
Syllabus is going to be he is going to be a party member. So he's like, we got to get another person. We got to get a healer. Where could we find a healer? And Haseo's like, the only character I know who's a healer is fucking Atoli. Heaven forbid I go post on a forum to find a new one, or just walk around and say LFG.
Well, actually,
I know
he does post on the forum.
I know that's going to
first.
happen no, he doesn't post first. He posts after this.
Does he?
Yes.
I'm pretty certain I thought he posted to avoid having
one
to...
of those classic Sam and Maddie disagreements.
No, Sam, we're now at the stuff that I played yesterday. He does it later, I promise. Because I remember thinking this dumb joke, and then later I was like, oh. So anyway, they're like, so he's like, I'm going to go ask Atoli to fight in the arena, even though she said a million times that she doesn't like fighting. Also, I hate her. So you get an invitation from her to hang out with just the 2 of them. And if you recall last time they did that, all the enemies are super low level, and she's like, I just like to look at the graphics. And he was like, I hate this. I fucking hate this. Why am I not leveling up right now? The same thing happens this time. We have this long sequence where you're in this area and you're going around to the different places in the area, and she was like, look at that thing off in the distance, look at that skybox, and she tells you about the lore. It's actually really good. I actually like it a lot. She tells you about the lore, and she thinks that the lore is really interesting. There's this giant like machine off in the distance. He talks about how like humans shot a giant gun at God back in the past, and they actually killed God with the gun, and then later they felt bad about it. They felt bad that they'd killed God. There's slightly more to it than that, but whatever. And then there's a part where you look at birds, and she talks about how you like birds, and Haseo's just like, I have zero opinion on birds. And then they get into a more serious... and every time this happens, he's just like, keep it together, Haseo. You gotta just grin and bear it. You gotta deal with this. You gotta get her to join your party. That way you can win the tournament. Just deal with it, man. It's fine. It's gonna be fine. So this happens like 10 more times, and then eventually Haseo just loses it. And he goes off on her. I think he literally says, like, what are you, an idiot? And he's just like, because she's just going on and on about how no one should ever fight. And then he, at first, is an asshole. But then, in my opinion, makes an interesting little kind of loops around, because he's like, he's not just like, I like to win and dominate people. He's like, this shit's all fake. None of these graphics are real. It's all just bits. The only thing that is real is the people. And the people, the way we interact with the other human beings in this game, the way that we like socially interact with people is by fighting them. Like, that's actually my way of interacting with, like, he doesn't exactly say this, but I don't think I'm reaching too much here. Where he's kind of like, this is my way of interacting with, like, the beauty of this world is by fighting people because other people are real, right? And she doesn't really get it. But then he's basically just like, she's like, I don't get it. And he's like, I don't get your point of view either. And then he tells her, like, never talk to me again. And she logs off. What?
He does. He says, don't show your face around me ever again.
Yeah. He's like, never talk to me again. And then she logs off. So that date didn't go well.
Nope.
Also, he notably never actually asked her to join his arena, because he just figured it was a hopeless, right? And again, this whole time I'm just like, I don't know what we're supposed to be thinking about her, but I don't like her one bit. I'm kind of, even though Haseo is a total asshole, I'm like, yeah, no, why are you wasting your time with this person who just annoys you? Why don't you just go do anything else? This is an online game. You can hang out with millions of people.
But they're all gamers.
Yes. And only one of them apparently looks like his comaed girlfriend. Anyway, Haseo goes back to the guild and he's like, sorry, I messed it up. And then Syllabus is like, why don't we just post on the forum? So then someone replies to the forum and says, hey, go to this area alone and meet me. And he's like, cool. Gonna get a healer. Oh no, it's the same 3 characters that always show up to PKS constantly. Bordeaux and the other ones.
Bordeaux, Palom, and Porum.
Yes, exactly.
I would have said the names of the jesters from Final Fantasy IX, but I can't remember the names of the jesters from Final Fantasy IX.
Who remembers? Characters aren't real, man. That's my opinion about fictional characters.
That is not exactly a hot take.
Anyway, just as you're about to get owned yet again, some Moontree people show up. And he's like, oh, thanks for saving me. They have this pretty long scene, actually, where there's this really cool-looking guy. I forget what his name is, but he's fucking cool-looking. Bukaki.
Cool looking with a ponytail, or cool looking with the red hair?
No, it's Sakaki.
Sakaki, yeah.
Kun is not in this scene. So anyway, Bukaki shows up and is like, hey, does your guildmaster know that you're PKing people? What if I fucking just tattled on you? And they're like, don't you dare tattle on us. And he's like, I'm gonna. Because they're in the guild Kestrel, which reminds me of something, other game, but I can't remember what it is. It's probably a reference to the Bible or some shit.
Probably.
So anyway, so what ends up happening is that basically they have like a stare down, and then the Moontree people do in fact convince them not to kick your ass. And then he's like, man, Haseo is like, man, y'all always show up at like just the right time. Isn't your timing a little suspicious? Did you like wait to show up and be a big hero? And then it totally shows up, and she's like, no, I came to save you because somebody told me, what's his name? Bo. Bo showed up and told me that his older sister had taken out a hit on you. So I immediately came to save you. It was like right after you left, I went to save you. And there's a cute little cutscene where she learns this information, and you can tell that she's wrestling a little bit because he just said, "Don't ever talk to me again." And then she immediately finds out, oh no, Haseo's in danger. And she's like, okay, fine. And then she goes to save you. So anyway, you're really...
A kestrel is a type of bird.
Nice.
And it sounds like this.
There we go. I also feel like kestrel is an important element in some fiction. Like, I think maybe it's like a spaceship in some sci-fi. I'm not thinking of Kessel. I'm thinking of kestrel. It's different. Anyway.
I forget, was there a particular reason why she decided to join the party? Because if you told me no, I'd believe you.
Yes, it's actually pretty good, actually. She thought of what you said earlier, and she realizes that if she wants to be all goody two-shoes and huggy kissy feelings, she should probably understand people's feelings, and she should understand people who are different than her, such as people who like to do fighting in the arena and stuff like that. Just, broaden her horizons empathetically. Haseo doesn't care about that, but she does. And also I think
she's like, if I love the world so much, I don't need to just love the lore. I need to love like the game, so I should explore this whole half of the game.
Exactly. And also there is this thing with both of them where, again, there's a running theme in this game where Haseo just goes along. He lets himself get roped into these people's lives, even though he is a complete asshole. He could easily have just said, basically the whole game so far is like Syllabus will ask him, hey, do some inane task, and he'll be like, ugh, I just want to go level up so I can be strong, and then he does the inane task, and I'm like, yeah. Why? This seems out of character for you. It's just because the plot requires that you go do this. Anyway, same thing with her, right? He keeps letting her tag along with him, but she's the same way. Of all the people in this world, she's like, no, I have to make Haseo like me. I have to be friends with Haseo. So I think she's kind of...
He's on the cover of the game.
Yeah,
he's
both
on the box art.
I'm the main female character. I have to have a relationship with Haseo. So I guess she kind of just wants him to think that she's cool, and maybe she'll broaden her horizons and be in the tournament. So the rest of today's gameplay is basically you're in the tournament, and you just, not the tournament, but you're just doing free rounds.
In the prelims, yeah.
And every time you do a prelim round, you gain some points, and you can like chain them where if you do multiple in a row, you get bonus points. But if you lose points. They're all pretty fucking easy. I lost once because I was playing.
Because the point of the arena in the game of the game is to... you have a leader with support characters, and so you have to like protect your leader. Well, we are our leader, so we don't play any different, but instead of having to kill all of the monsters to win, you just have to kill one.
You just
so it makes it easier
than
it makes it way easier than a trash mob fight.
Yeah.
Although y'all were saying in the chat that the what are they called? Limit battles are really easy, so you should just do the ones that give you like 100. I did one of the ones that gave me like 100, and they kicked my ass, so I stuck with the ones that gave 50.
Oh, I must not have been paying attention. I didn't see that. I definitely did the endurance battles, just because I don't know. It's fun to do a whole bunch all in a row, and not have to think about who you're fighting.
Yeah, the endurance battles were fun. They just take a long time, and you only get like 200, 250, 300 for like a perfect run through of the 5, and you can get 100 at a time for one battle on the limit battles.
Oh, well,
so
that would have been faster. So anyway, so you do this a whole bunch, and every time you get battle points, you level up your rank, and you start at like rank, I don't know, 200, 300 something, and it goes higher and higher and higher, and once it gets to 16, you've reached your goal. In the middle of this though, so after you get to a certain point, the game will get like interrupted. What I mean is like plot events with other things that we'll talk about happen just like while you're doing this. right? I'm guessing it's probably coded like once player reaches battle level higher than 200, initiate side quest, right? So anyway, at one point, you are, I believe, going to the forum again, actually. Yeah. And somebody on the forum is like, hi, I'm the leader of GU, or I'm a high important person in the group GU, and I'm after Tri-Edge. So Tri-Edge, meet me at the Hool Grand Cathedral. That's the same cathedral we saw Tri-Edge earlier, so that I can kick your ass. And being Haseo, you're like, oh shit, Tri-Edge is going to be at the place. I should go there and get owned again.
Also, what the fuck is wrong with Yata?
Yeah, Yata must have lost his goddamn mind.
Yeah.
Publicly...
yeah. Also, Haseo was like, what the fuck is wrong with Yata? Yeah. So you go there, and there goes another extremely fucking stupid scene that I really enjoyed. You meet this
so good
dumbass character named Pyros the Third. He has giant, extremely bulky golden armor. And right off the bat, it's weird because the music is clearly indicating that this is a comic character, a laughable character, one might say, more than just comic. Like, it's not that he's funny, it's we're laughing at him. And he himself is very pompous, so he's very much the pompous, laughable character. But on the other hand, I'm thinking, well, this is an RPG, like, he got this amazing gold armor, maybe he's a great player, right? But no. It turns out this guy is he's one of the artists for the game. He did a lot of the textures, and he's mad because literally Tri-Edge is going around using his Tri-Edges to literally deface his beautiful graphics. So he's entered the game to stop him, and he's the head of GU, which stands for... Fuck, what does it stand for?
Graphic user something.
Graphics Unlimited or something like that.
Graphics, yeah. Basically, it's
Graphics Unbelievable.
That's right. So he has a group called Graphics Unbelievable, which is a just complete coincidence that it's the same as GU. So it's just fucking stupid.
According to Francesco, this is the first of like 100 potential meanings for GU that we'll discover throughout this game series.
Christ. Anyway, so he says, hey, I'm going to be your bud because I also want to fuck up Tri-Edge because Tri-Edge broke, is destroying all my graphics. Peace out. And he becomes one of the people that you can ask to join your party sometimes. I have not done that.
Oh, wow. You should. At this point, I have not used Syllabus at all.
I saw he's high level, yeah.
Since then, because he is real good. He hits like a truck, and he has my favorite thing about RPGs on the PS2. He has catchphrases as he uses every single one of his moves.
Oh Lord,
he's magnificent.
I thought of putting him in my party, but then I thought, well, like, what if the game is requiring me to have Syllabus at some point? I don't want him to be underleveled. But yeah, maybe I'll try him. Anyway, so he joins.
Also, you don't have to worry about that much with this game because these are other players. They quest while you're not around. And so they gain levels. They do level up while you're not paying attention.
Well, dank. Anyway, so then we just keep doing that. We just keep trying to increase our ranking. Oh, also, this is a way for the game. The game secretly hints that we need to be level 20 before we can enter the tournament. Just like because it would be stupid to enter before level 20. And sure enough, by the time we get enough points to get through, we'll be around level 20. So anyway, what's the next thing that
there's
happens?
one more interrupt quest.
Yeah. So we meet this other guy named Antares, and he's just this old guy, and he basically just shows up and he's like, ha ha ha, good job, Haseo. You've shown that you're a good fighter. And Haseo's like, cool. And then the guy's like, however, you have much to learn. You clearly don't know shit about arena fighting and suck. And I'm like, wait, I thought he was just saying that we're cool. So anyway, Haseo gets mad, and at first he's just like, I'm just going to ignore you. You're dumb. Fuck off. And then the guy's like, if you want to prove your worth to me, go do this quest that I made. And Haseo, again, for a second, is like, he does have a glimmer of self-awareness where he thinks, I could just ignore this guy. He's just some guy. Why do I need to prove myself to him? Who gives a shit? But then Antares is like, he basically says, like, what are you, chicken? And then Haseo is like, fuck you, I'm gonna go do your stupid quest. So you go do the stupid quest. And the whole time it's the dungeon design's kind of weird, but not really that hard, and he's giving you hints constantly. And then you get to the end, and the guy's just like, good job, and Haseo's like, well, that was an annoying waste of time. That's it.
Yeah.
This was almost a setup for a great payoff, which we'll get to in a little bit, and the payoff was not there, and it made me mad, but we'll get there. I just remind me to talk about how much this quest made me mad.
Yeah. Anywho, let's see what happens after that point. Wait, you said that's how long you had to play, right?
No.
We play up
there's a
until
lot more.
we play up until we are about to fight Bordeaux, correct?
Yes.
And Bordeaux's the
more.
first round of the tournament, right?
Yes. But I specifically said there's a bunch of fake outs. Make sure you were telling the guy at the counter no and save. So I guess I need to talk about them.
I mean,
fake
I
outs.
went and fought Bordeaux and got my job extension and did all that shit. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, the job extension is the big thing. So you go up to register for the tournament, and you register Adelie, and in my case, Pyros the third, and Sakubo shows up, and it's Saku, and
oh, I'm silly. I did this part. It's cool. Keep going though.
Okay. So yeah, she's like sorry, I'm scrolling through a Let's Play, which is a lot of stuff to scroll through that's not important. But she basically just shows up and is like, Master N's gonna kick your ass because you fucking suck. And
also, you're level 20, and doing an arena is clearly something you do when you're max level. Like, what the fuck is this game where people are doing PvP arenas at level 20 when the level cap is 150?
Like, come on, man.
No idea. So then you have a whole bunch of emails to go and do, talking to your friends and stuff. There's a cool thing that happens where, like, there's affection points in this game, and you do it by keeping up email threads with your friends, which I think is really cool.
Just like real life.
Yes.
And you have to respond nicely, which is annoying because it's fun to not respond nicely. But yeah,
although often the choices, because Haseo, are like complete asshole and sorta asshole.
yeah. After I got my first, I had fun.
A lot of them are also like.
Oh, go on.
Go ahead, Manny.
No, go on.
Okay, a lot of them are also like answering your question and talking to you and treating you like a human being, or tell me what you know about Tri-Edge.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say I was having fun being an asshole until I acquired my first affection point, because then I realized, oh fuck, affection points are a thing. I guess I have to not be an asshole.
I also just realized,
like real life.
We skipped over the whole side quest. It's not important, but it's kind of important, where we go with Pi and Kun to a really high leveled place to try and get our epitaph to be summoned.
I thought we covered that last week.
No, because we didn't know about our epitaphs, because it's what we played last week, but we stopped talking after the talk with Yata. And it's like one of the next couple scenes after
You're
that.
Right. Thank you, Sam.
And yeah, and so we go and we try, and we get in a whole bunch of fights, and we do boss fights and everything, and it's just not working. And Haseo's just like super bummed. And
this is every time we try to activate our avatar.
Yeah.
And it's not working.
So I go to the high level area and I try to awaken to my avatar, and it's not working.
And
Sam, we're gonna keep making this reference. Sorry,
I have no idea what the reference is.
And we keep making the reference, and he doesn't get it.
Honestly,
this is every time we make the reference.
I think I'm probably going to intentionally not tell you what we're referencing, because frankly, it's kind of funny.
That's great. I approve of this. But basically at the end of it, Pi and Kun are like, you know what? It's great that you can't summon your avatar, because it could have gone haywire and we would have had to data drain you again. So if you can't ever do it, then that's water off our backs, and we don't have to give a shit about you anymore. And they just fucking like leave, and it's brutal. So when you get an email from Kun that's like, hey, we need to talk, it's kind of a like, oh, I guess we're cool again sort of thing. And so he's like, hey, come and meet me in Mackinac. And you go to meet him, but Gaspard is like fallen down like, oh, well, no. Gaspard falling down hurt looking was one of the random things that happened while you were leveling up at the arena. This is another thing that happened related to that. So you run into you run out to the guild market, and like there's billions of players all at every stall except for y'all's. It's like there's nobody at the fucking guild stall whatsoever. And apparently Kestrel has been coming by and like killing everybody that they see buying from Kennard, this guild stall. And so they aren't getting any business anymore. And Syllabus was like, Gaspard, you should give up on the shop. And Gaspard's like, no, all I want to do with my life is stand in one place while playing an online game.
And Syllabus is like, he's so upset by this, I can't participate in the arena anymore. I'm going to have to stay and comfort him because he can't do retail work in a fantasy world. And
so I was like, you guys realize y'all have like weapons and shit. Why don't you fight back? And they're just like, well, I don't know. But Kun is like, you guys are my old buddies. I happen to know Gabby, the leader over at Kestrel. Let's go give him a piece of our mind. And so you have a quick little side quest dalliance with Kun in your party. And Kestrel...
You don't get to fight anybody.
No.
Yeah, annoyingly. We go to a safe area with a bunch of NPCs that I didn't talk to. I don't know why I literally forgot this entire thing. I played it 2 hours ago.
I played it like 2 days ago, and I played too long, and I kept forgetting which is before and after the stop point. So
yeah.
And so what's cool about Kestrel is they're like the method for World of Warcraft of the world. Like they're super top level guild. So instead of just having to use the same guild hall that everybody does, they got their own area word. So like if anybody wants to see Kestrel, they can go to a specific area word and go and visit them, which is super cool.
It's pretty dope.
Yeah. Like, can you imagine just like be playing WoW and being good enough? They're like, yeah, we decided to make you your own island. Here you go. You can now fly to. This is your level. But so you head over there, and Bordeaux is there to talk some shit again, like always. And as you're like yelling at each other, Bordeaux's like, well, Kun, you have no right to talk because you used to be in Kestrel. And I'm just like, what fucking guild were you not in, Kun? Like, this is the third guild we've learned that Kun was in at this point. And you find that not only was Kun in Kestrel, he was like the number 2 bitch at Kestrel.
Yeah.
And so while you're like yelling at each other, then the guildmaster Gabby shows up, and let's see, what all did he fucking talk about?
I don't know, he was big and red and laughed a lot.
He pretty much is just like, hey, tell these fuckers to stop bullying my guild members for just like no reason. There's no reason for it, and the guy is basically just like, if they want a PK, they can do it. What's wrong with that? He basically is just like, no. And then it does go on for longer. And after a bunch of arguing, eventually he ends up saying, Haseo makes a bet. And he says, if I can beat you in the tournament, you have to lay off forever.
Mm-hmm.
And they make a promise, and Haseo says, "How can I believe your promise? You're fucking Kestrel. You've been lying to it. You're villains." And they said, "Well, when we make a promise in Kestrel to Gabby, that promise matters. That promise actually holds weight." And then Gabby says something at some point. I think he says this multiple times throughout the conversation, but he reiterates it at the end, where he says that his only rule is don't be boring. And that's actually why he makes this happen, why he doesn't just let them keep bullying, because he basically has something like, he's like, what do you have in mind with this whole bullying thing? Like, do you have anything interesting where you're going with this, or are you just being boring? And they're kind of like, so then he has the idea to do the tournament thing. So it seems like Gabby's philosophy is just, he doesn't want things to be boring, and just being a bully at some innocent shopkeepers for no reason is boring.
He is lawful chaotic.
Yes. So anyway, so that is, so they're like, okay, fine, I'll see you after class.
Mm-hmm. And on your way back, there's a small scene with Kun and Haseo, where Haseo's like, well, now I'm going to beat the shit out of Kestrel and then go and beat the shit out of Endurance. And Kun is like, you're level 20 and you don't even have your avatar. What the fuck are you going to do? You kind of really fucking suck. He says the exact phrase, at your current state, you won't even beat Bordeaux, let alone Endurance. And so
again, he's like, well, he just needs to go level up for 4 fucking days. Just, it's an RPG. You can do that.
Yeah. But
no.
And so Haseo is like, well, I'll get stronger if only there's like an event that's going to be happening for a limited time that will happen just right now. And we get an email that says the job extension quest officially begins today. And so what's really cool, like lore wise, is in the first game was a traditional MMO where you just had a bunch of classes, and each class was like rigid. And so Kite from the first game is he's a Twin Blade, and so he fights with two daggers, and then the whole game all the way through he's a Twin Blade and he fights with 2 daggers. Well, a lot of people played alts and played a bunch of different classes in the first world. So when they made the World Revision 2, they made a class called the Adept Rogue, which is like a jack of all trades but a master of none. So you get to use like shit from all of the classes of the old game, but you don't really get to do any of the cool new stuff that they added in the second game. And so so Adept Rogues, every now and then, it doesn't say how often it happens, they get a job extension quest where they can learn a new weapon. And so when we saw Haseo at the beginning, he was not a Twin Blade. He was a Black Rose. I forget what her class is called, but he had a big ass sword back the first time, and so he wants his big ass sword again, and so he's going to go and do the class extension to get his big ass sword. And so when he's going to do that, the old guy shows up and basically explains what's going on, and tells us that we have to go and get it from the quest shop. And when you go and get it from the quest shop, it's at that same map as earlier when you were doing the side quest for the old man, like the exact same, and there's nothing different. And even the pop-ups where he was emailing you the first time, you remember the emails, and it walks you through the whole quest. And it's dumb because it would have been one thing if it, because he walks you through the first one where you have a party, and then the second one you're all by yourself. And if you were all by yourself and had to remember where to go, even though it's really obvious and easy, it would be cool to like, were you paying attention when you did the thing a little bit ago? But instead,
that would have got me, because the answer definitely would have been no.
But instead, you just do the same dungeon twice.
Even the character remembering it himself, I think, is pretty cool narratively, except it doesn't work because the layout is just dead simple. Like, when I did it the first time, it got to the point where I was like, oh, I see, I'm going to have to go right in a second. And then the guy's like, go right. And I'm like, yeah, I got it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty basic.
Thanks for teaching us, old man, I guess.
Yeah. So you make your way through it, and the NPC that does the quest is like, all right, I'm going to give you my secret technique. And Haseo digivolves and gets new armor, and he looks way cooler. His first character design is kind of like Leather Daddy and not really anything interesting. But now he's got like armor bits and more colors, and it's real cool. And he unlocks the ability to play with broadswords. And the old guy shows back up, and Haseo's like, "Why'd you bother to teach me?" And he doesn't say anything, and he just leaves, because you can't be an Obi-Wan if you tell people things that are true. So he just leaves. Then that's the last bit. You go up to Arena Town, and you say, I want to fight in the arena. And they say, okay, cool. And you register, and then you'll start fighting, which we'll talk about next week. Nice. We'll try and do all of the tournament next week, but there is some shit that happens in the middle of the tournament, of course. I'm feeling the tournament part won't be interesting at all, and the other part will be where all the interesting stuff is. But
what happens immediately after this stopping point is incredible.
Nice. Oh, glad to hear it. Dope. Oh, also, Sam, just so you know, I'm only one. I only stopped one dungeon behind, because they said, let's go do the tournament for real this time. And I, like a dummy, was like, oh, it sounds like they're doing the dungeon for real this time. Whereas if I had watched one more scene, I would have been like, oh, I have to go do the job extension quest.
You really should not assume that at any point in Hack GU, at any given point, is the plot going to move forward.
That's a very, very good point.
It's literally the times where they're like, hey, we need you to do something not important and just go and grind for a bit. That's when the plot starts happening.
That's a very good point, actually.
It's all the times where it's like, oh, hey, we need to go to this big dungeon and something important's going to happen. And you're like, okay, cool. And it's just like, yeah, let's be a shopkeeper today.
Okay, let's meet a new wacky character.
Yeah. But yeah, so we're going to try and do all of the tournament, which will be a huge chunk, but we'll see. I know that because one of the guides is broken up into their own. They made chapters for the game, and they counted the last two fights as their own chapter. And Francesco says it's about an hour and a half of content for just the last two fights. So we might not be doing those. I'll make sure by the time I edit this that I decide. So it'll be in the show notes. But let's listen to some more music, and then we'll talk about our memorable moments. Bernard, how about you? What did you like and or despise of this week?
When you are doing the limit battles in the arena, it gives you a big list of people to choose from, groups to fight, and the team names are hilarious. My favorite one is, in all caps, Love Gramps. L-U-V. Love Gramps.
I love Gramps. I cackled when I saw Love Gramps.
I must not have paid enough attention, or I just got less funny ones, because I didn't make note of any of them, really.
There was also a team called American Friend, and the leader of American Friend is named Rain and Sun, and the other two members of American Friend are named Mike Smith and Bob Smith.
That's good.
Oh, it's real good.
The NPC PCs in this game are really well named. I enjoy it. So, also at one point, a memorable moment is I lost in the arena, and I was like, oh no, is this a game over? But then it popped me out right outside the arena. I was like, oh, thank God, this isn't a game over. And then the game crashed. Luckily, I had saved just right before that fight, so It was not a big deal. But I found that humorous.
So the game crashed and it formatted your PS4, and then you logged back in and you were level 1.
And I was like, well. And then Maddie went into a coma.
No. You hate to see it.
And also, I didn't talk to all the NPCs at Kestrel's hideout because there were a lot of them. But I did talk to one, and I sure did pick one to talk to because they were just kept talking about how horny they were for Gabi.
That's really
like
funny.
I didn't record the exact nature of their speech, but they said something about like wanting to dive into Gabi's chest and breathe deep.
Oh my.
I'm
That's
done.
Great.
Nice. I'll share a couple and then I can draft with Sam. Most of mine are just very incidental bullshit. So first one, if you go to the part of your menu where you can look at character descriptions and you look at Pi, so the characters all will have like favorite thing or it's like blanks you need to fill out, but you actually get to pick what the blanks are. So one person might be like, favorite person, favorite place, favorite movie, right? But for Pi, it's hobby, favorites, obsession, and it's hobby, serving Yatta, favorites, Master Yatta, obsession, Master Yatta, and then her punchline is, what, got a problem? Pi is weird. She's also hot. Second thing, so I spent a lot of time in the forums this week. I really like all the forums. There's this really weird world building thing where apparently all the parents in this world are now like microchipping their kids. And there's a forum about like how that's weird and they're not sure how they feel about it. And then they're talking about like how, this one mom is like, we make all of our kids carry pepper spray. And if we don't know where they are, if the microchip shows them going somewhere we don't like, we punish them. And then a kid posts and is like, yeah, I stopped by my friend's house to pick up a game and my mom fucking like called the cops because she had me microchipped. So that was just some really interesting shit. Let's see. I took some pictures of some architecture. This game has some very, very Rogue Galaxy vibes with its architecture. I like it. I like this game's use of 3D space a lot. Both its architecture of the actual worlds and its like background stuff it's really pretty. All these super flat, almost completely textureless geometry, right? I really love the skyscrapers in the background of
Lumina
the arena town. Again,
Lumina
if you look
cloth.
if you look at them closely, it's literally just a gray rectangle with some little windows drawn into it. It's like completely featureless, and I love it.
It's so good.
Let's see. There's a good line of dialogue when you go to the tournament. The announcer goes, "All you bloodthirsty men drawn to this place by the thrill of the fight. Can you hear the crowd? Can you feel their violent excitement?" I don't know, it reminds me of In Wizard People Dear Reader, where it's just like, I guess they need blood splashed on their faces. Everyone's just really bloodthirsty. There's some more screenshots. One fun thing that I did was, at one point in the game, you get the ability to send postcards. like digital cards to people, and I had 2. And I have one that's it's the stupidest, most infantile bullshit ever. It's just the stupid little. What's the little pig's called again?
Grunties.
Grunty. It's the Grunty that looks like you for some goddamn reason. The little Haseo Grunty that is super obnoxious, and and he's saying you are the best. It's like an animated GIF of him saying you're the best. Anyway, I sent that one to Pi. Thinking she will not appreciate this at all. She will be very annoyed by this, and that's exactly what happens.
It's so good.
She's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? I hate this." However, I'll give you points for like showing some respect to me, and it actually does increase your affection points. So that was a fun time that I had. Some more forum things real quick. This one guy's like, "Anyone opening chests?" And the only text is, "How do I do it?" Then there's someone who wrote a very long fan fiction about N. They wrote a self-insert fanfic about N, but in their self-insert fanfic, all they do is try to run after N in the crowd, but they can't catch up to him, and then they watch him fight from afar. That's their self-insert fanfic.
Do you mean Endurance?
Yes, sorry. Oh yeah, that's what they call N.
Yeah. Master
in the
N.
fanfic. And then there's also a forum post about how someone got ganked, and this guy is saying how he got ganked by a PK, but she was really hot, so he's like, who is she? And then he's just horny for her. And there's an appropriate amount of horny in this game's fake internet, frankly. There's another forum where people are talking about something unrelated, and then in the middle of a thread, 2 characters start flirting with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like really fucking funny. Let's see. Also, what's her name? Atoli. Her equipment outfit is called Sub Gear, and I was like, yeah, you don't have to tell me. And I think that is... Oh, and then final thing, when you're talking with Gabby, he's Kuhn is like, Gabby, I sent you an email about this whole bullying thing, and Gabby says, I don't read emails that are more than 3 lines long. And agreed. So yeah, this game actually does a weird. It's all the fake internet culture stuff is. It ranges from obvious but still accurate to weirdly subtly good. Yes. In some dumb ways, but also it's like in typical anime style. Even though it's not anime, even though it's just like text. They're doing things that people do in real life, but they're still doing it in kind of an off-kilter way that no one would really do. Which is to say the game has weird writing. But also it's really good. That's all my MMs.
All right. So my absolute favorite forum on this game is AppCalu, which is the artist alley where they post fan art.
I didn't go to that one.
Oh, so that's where you get new backgrounds for your desktop as you download all the fan art. And so there's a lot of fan art of Haseo from when he was the Terror of Death. And almost all of the art that you've gotten so far on there has been like shitty. It's been like fan art from like 14-year-old kids, and it's great. But after you meet Indrance, you go on there and it's actually the girl that wrote the fan fiction. She draws an art, and turns out that she's the lead artist for Crimson Versus, the card game. And so it's like fucking great, just like amazingly beautifully detailed. And everyone's just like, man, I don't even want to post my art anymore. Like, why'd you have to come and like shit on our fucking cake? And it's great. But speaking of Crimson Versus, if you troll the forums, you realize that the reason Gaspard likes to just hang out and run the guild is because he actually is like the #1 Crimson Versus player of all time, and this is just his side piece. He's super.
I didn't notice that.
He's like like when he shows up in the Crimson versus forums, people are like, "Holy shit, it's the Gaspard!" Like, oh my god, and
that rules.
It's great. I love him.
Also, in general, I think it's really cool when you're on when you're on a forum and you just see a character that you know. You're like, oh, hey, how's it going?
It's so good. Like before you meet Syllabus, like the very beginning of the game, when you have all that lore dump, there's a tutorial post where you can go and it'll teach you how to play the game, and it's written by Syllabus. He wrote the tutorial, and so you can, after you meet him, you can go back and comment on it.
Actually, I will say one more. This is a minimal moment I forgot to get a screenshot of. You already alluded to this, but I want to comment on a little more. There's a thread of people. It's not the world forum. It's a normal forum. And someone's like, I'm looking for an online game to play. And everyone's recommending these different games. And then one person who, I'm not reading all the fucking screen names, I didn't notice who it was, is just like, hello, friend, may I recommend the game The World? And instead of it being like forum speak, it's like a very well-written, like properly formatted, like grammatically correct forum post. And he's like, now The World is the most popular game in the world. I'm sure you all already know about it, but let me tell you why it's so great and why you should play it. And then and then it keeps going. He's like, oh, I heard the game has a lot of bugs, blah, 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 blah. And then you get to respond. And it wasn't until that point that I realized that the person who gave the very long, very pleasant, positive, inviting post about The World was Syllabus. And you can post one of two things. You can post three things, actually. To the guy who's saying, like, oh, I heard the game's kind of buggy, you can be like, oh, there were lots of bugs, but they fixed most of them now. And in fact, if you have any trouble playing the game, you should totally reach out to Syllabus. He's a great guy and he'll help you. And, like, you can say that. And Syllabus, obviously gives you affection points for that. Or you can be like, dude, this game sucks, don't play it. Or the last one's the most fun one. You notice that Syllabus is on the forum. Instead of responding to anything else going on, you literally just like, hey, Syllabus, what's up? That's just a thing you can say. And it's a really good time. I didn't pick that one, unfortunately. I picked the one where I was like, yeah, you should, because that's the one that would make Syllabus happy, right? Is to be like, yeah, you should play the game. Go talk to Syllabus in the Beginner's Guild. He's so great. And I feel like Haseo is like, this is not my actual personality, but like I feel like I need to make this guy like me just because, like, fuck it, whatever.
So speaking of the Beginners Guild, I love Haseo Grunty, because you get in there and you're like, well, what do I have to do with this whole guildmaster thing? And you're like, oh, well, you just have to talk to the guild Grunty and complete his quest. And you're like, okay, cool. And then you see, and it's a little shitty Grunty that's just mad all the time. Like, he's a caricature of Haseo, and he looks like Haseo. And so after you become the guildmaster, he's in your head. And so, like, you'll just be walking and he'll be a Navi, and he'll just pipe in and have something to say as a shitty, grunty Haseo.
And Haseo fucking hates him. And it's one of that's a classic comedy trope, is person who's an asshole being annoyed by someone who is annoyed. I mean, I think I literally gave this exact same speech 2 weeks ago. Anyway, yeah, it's the trains, planes, and automobiles dynamic, right? It's great.
And in a memorable moment, because I thought it was going to be awesome, but it turned out to fucking suck, is you beat the Guildmaster quest, and Haseo Grunty is like, okay, cool, here's the keys to your kick-ass motorcycle. And you're like, this is awesome. But your motorcycle doesn't have any brakes, and it's not that much faster than Haseo's freakishly fast running speed, so it's practically useless. It's really hard to control.
It would be useful if there weren't corners in the world. If the world was a straight line, it would be useful.
I ride it a lot, even though it's almost always the bad idea. But I'm like, no, I'm gonna ride this fucking thing. But
that sounds like you.
But I have been thinking about it though. Well, like, for example, even when you first just go to the gate, when you go to the the arena town. When you first arrive, it's literally a straight line from there to the arena. And it's just far enough that I'm like, yeah, hitting square, the screen goes dark, the screen comes back on, and now on a motorcycle, I accelerate. I just crash headfirst into the arena. I hit square, I get off the motorcycle, the screen goes black to unload the motorcycle, and now I'm pretty sure that's faster than just fucking running there. Maybe by like a half of a second. So I do it every time. It's funny to me.
Yeah, I love
motorcycle is fucking bullshit. It sucks.
I love that we get a motorcycle. I hate that it's not a good motorcycle.
If you imagine that every single thing in this world is like specifically designed like as like cosmic justice to annoy Haseo, it all works.
Yes. I think I had one more that I saw while I was scrolling that I wanted to talk about, but I don't remember what it was, so it obviously isn't that important.
Whoa.
But yeah, so that was this week's episode. I hope you guys really liked it. I definitely recommend picking this game up. It goes on sale all the time, and you get all 4 parts for $12 when it goes on sale typically, which is ridiculous. There's so much, like, I still haven't been able to go and do any of the side quests. I have a steaming pile of side quests just like hanging out in my bookmarks folder to go to later, and I haven't done a single goddamn one of them. There's so much content in these games, and it's great. It's definitely worth
I'm gonna give you a little hint, Sam. Do the side quests as soon as you can, because I actually did waste some time doing side quests for some reason instead of doing important things. Because the thing is, once you get higher level, you fucking hate doing them because they all have like, they're elaborate. They're not just like wham bam boom go do the thing. It's like, here's a cutscene, here's a new character. So you have to go through all this shit, but it's level 10 side quest and you're level 20. And you're like, this sucks. Whereas if you're at level, you're like, hey, I'm getting some good levels out of this.
Okay. So don't be like me.
Yeah.
Go and do them when you get them.
Yeah.
But there's so many. There's like at the quest shop, there's some. If you troll all the forums, you get some. There's like, and then that doesn't even count the procedurally generated ones where you could just go and put words together and go and do some shit. There is ridiculous amounts of content for $12.50. So if you see this on sale, definitely pick it up. If it's not on sale, it's still probably worth the $40 it normally goes for, but it's definitely worth the $12.50. But yeah, if you like what we do here, you should check us out online at www.rpgbook.club, where we have links to all of our social medias where you can come and hang out with us. Shout outs to all of our Ko-Fi backers that made this possible. They donated so we could unlock LongCast, and special shouts out to Ukar, who paid for the little bit that unlocked .hack number 1, like the week that I went on paternity leave. And I was like, God damn it. Why'd you have to do this now? I won't be able to do it for like 4 months. It's all just going back up. So he then donated another $300 and said, "Get riggedy wrecked, son." And
hope you like words.
So now
bitch.
We have 2 whole games. So huge shout outs to him. He made all of this possible. He has paid for the games for, probably will end up still paying for games for a hot minute because we keep getting them on sale. So shout outs to him. He's a trooper. Shout outs also to our boyfriend Chesco, who you heard with our Phoenix Wright episodes, because we were going to do Golden Sun trilogy instead of .hack GU, and he donated $50 to bribe me to change my mind back in the day. So he paid for Halo so that we could have .hack.
Thank you, Francesco, for allowing me to continue my hilarious bit of just never playing Golden Sun, no matter how much anyone tells me to.
It'll happen one of these days.
No.
But yeah, that'll do it for the week for RPG Book Club. I have been Sam Allman.
I'm Maddie Grace Webben.
I'm Bernard Hauk.
And
Bye,
have a week,
nerds.
guys.